I get why they don't get anything close to that, but the multiple they do get seems cheap to me. So even though it's run a lot, I'm still long GM.
Guess what? Tesla is a car company, right? It's a car company, and that's how we're valuing it. I know we tried to do 15 other things, and great for the people that were long, but it's a case where then that's why you need to value GM and Ford more like an EV play. Ford's going to have 600,000 EVs on the road in 24. This is a story about Ford and GM being undervalued on multiple.
I'm actually starting to think that maybe the Cybertruck just doesn't even come to market. We were joking a little bit about this in our Slack channels, Julie, this morning. I'm over these tweets from Elon Musk. I just want him to focus on the Tesla business.
In this video, things get rather meta. I'll be featuring some clips of dinosaurs in the mainstream finance media, discussing the dinosaurs in the legacy automotive industry, completely oblivious to the fact that they'll soon be extinct. Wait, am I talking about the legacy automotive manufacturers or the legacy media? Both. Some more salt directed toward Elon Musk by one of the folks over on Yahoo Finance. A bit more discussion on the genius of Tesla's Dogecoin move. I'm also going to pick apart some of the reasoning and logic. Wait, that would imply that there was any. Well, I'm going to add some additional comments and try to understand why the folks over on CNBS think companies like Ford and GM are still a buy. So with that said, let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can get 2 free stocks with WeBull, a free stock with Stake, free Bitcoin with Coinbase, and free Bitcoin with BlockFi, and the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support.
And there are some new concerns that Tesla's Cybertruck could be delayed. There are reports the company removed the reference to the year 2022. Need I remind you that's this year from its website around production timing for the truck. Something to keep an eye on. Will that truck be delayed? Tesla hitting the skids, but check out the moves in Ford and GM. Ford stock hitting its highest level since July of 2021, topping $100 billion in market value for the first time ever. Guy, you have flagged this move. Good call there. What is the trade? And by the way, do you think now is the time for Ford to sell its stake in Rivian? Something Jim Cramer has talked about.
Between you and I think the smart thing for Ford to do would have been to dump their Rivian stock as soon as they possibly could have, immediately after IPO. For those that don't know, Rivian stock peaked at over $170 per share. It's literally more than halved since then. Why would it make sense for Ford to dump their stake in Rivian while its valuation is astronomically high? It makes absolutely no sense, because they're going to need tens upon tens upon tens of billions of dollars to transition to EVs without going bankrupt. They need the money. This would have been a great opportunity to sell. Not sure what they're doing, to be honest. Unless, of course, they think the valuation of Rivian makes sense. In which case, well, they're really doomed, aren't they?
What we've tried to point out is the market's going to finally reward both Ford and GM in terms of valuation. And you're seeing it play out over the last couple months. I do still think there's room to the upside in Ford. I mean, you put a 14 multiple-ish on the little more than $2 they're going to earn. You get a stock that's going to approach $30, I think. And I'll stand by that. In terms of selling their stake in Rivian, I mean, if Jim says they should do it, then I'm not going to argue with Jim. My instincts is they should probably hold on a little bit longer.
Well, I think if what you're talking about Tesla is true, that's clearly very good news for Ford, right? I think the F-150 is available for deliveries this spring, if I'm not mistaken. Not quite as good news for GM. I don't think the Chevy Silverado will be until next spring of 23. So to the extent if that Tesla truck is, they are going to produce it later, then that's much more helpful for Ford. I've been in GM, which, as Guy points out, it's really a value play. They obviously don't get anywhere remotely close to anything in the same stratosphere as Tesla in terms of their business, but they've got to show that their EV business really works. That they haven't yet, right? Yeah. They have the Hummer and they have the Bolt, and not particularly exciting. So they have to step up.
But didn't Joe Biden, the president of the United States, claim that General Motors have led the way? They've electrified the entire industry. You led and it matters? Or am I having a dementia moment here and imagining things? Oh wait, no, that was him, wasn't it? Credit to Karen here for acknowledging that GM have yet to actually do a fucking thing when it comes to EVs and still need to prove themselves. Something I think most investors in GM stock seem to be oblivious to. How many EVs did GM sell in the last quarter of 2021? Was it like 26, 28, something like that?
And we'll see how the Lyric does. So I get why they don't get anything close to that, but the multiple they do get seems cheap to me. So even though it's run a lot, I'm still long GM.
I just don't know what to say. I hope this is never me. I hope one day, after decades of experience investing and a few successes along the way, I hope I'm never this person who can't see what's around the corner and is completely oblivious. Here's the facts. GM should have a multiple of 0 because in the future they'll have revenue of 0 because they won't be in business because Mary Barra is an incompetent CEO. The company as a whole doesn't have what it takes to transition to EVs. There's going to be a financial implosion. I've covered this in previous videos. The financing their vehicles, it's going to be a disaster. They don't have competent leadership. They don't have the engineering talent. They don't have the strategy. And they're 5, 7, 8 or 10 years too late to the game. They will be bankrupt before the decade ends. GM is not cheap. It's expensive.
You have a case here where the analysts are actually starting to question what the value is of the internal combustion engine business. And if you look at a lot of the analysts, in fact, they're giving the legacy business almost 0 terminal value on DCFs. So actually, it really is turning into only EV call, which should make Ford and GM that much more valuable on multiple because
I'm starting to get the feeling the South Park character of the same name may have been based upon Tim Seymour. I'll let you guys fill in the blank. This is one of the dumbest things you could possibly say. The idea here that the EV business is the future, that's absolutely accurate. The idea that therefore General Motors and Ford have low multiples makes less than 0 sense. This is such a fucking brain dead thing to say. If EVs are the entire future of their business, what happens to the current business that's made up primarily like 99% of internal combustion engine vehicle sales? What happens to all of the equipment that can't be repurposed or used for producing electric vehicles? What happens to the tens upon tens of billions of dollars these companies need to invest in scaling up their EV production? Do we just ignore this? The lack of thinking here is truly astonishing. Legacy automotive companies are encumbered by their ICE business. They are encumbered by the internal combustion engine. You can't just ignore this. This is a massive burden, a huge disadvantage. It's not just the fact that this will be extinct and be completely worthless. They've got a ton of equipment that's going to be worthless, blah, blah, blah. It's the fact that as their ICE vehicle sales collapse, they'll stop making money on these vehicles due to reversing economies of scale. Consumers will no longer want to buy them, so there'll be less interest as well. And at the same time, their sales are collapsing, their revenues are collapsing, and their profits are collapsing due to the ICE vehicle going extinct. They're going to be desperately trying to ramp up their EV production. And as they ramp their EV production, they'll be losing colossal amounts of money on every single vehicle made until A, they can reach scale, and B, they can innovate in terms of manufacturing just like Tesla has. If you're playing along at home and your brain works, so sorry Tim, that excludes you, you'll understand. Legacy automotive manufacturers are going to be losing insane amounts of money on their ICE vehicles, which will eventually collapse to 0 sales. And as the ICE sales collapse, the margins will go from relatively high to almost nothing, and then there's no point even selling them because they're not making a profit. And at the same time this is happening, they're going to be losing more and more money ramping up their EV production until they can reach scale, if they can ever get there. But Timmy doesn't seem to understand that, and therefore it seems like Ford and General Motors are undervalued and they should have higher multiples because EVs are the future. Let's just ignore the mess in actually getting to that future if they can.
Guess what? Tesla is a car company, right? It's a car company, and that's how we're valuing it. I know we tried to do 15 other things, and great for the people that were long, but it's a case where then that's why you need to value GM and Ford more like an EV play. Ford's going to have 600,000 EVs on the road in 24.
There's a time and place to be gentle and delicate, definitely not in the bedroom. I didn't say that out loud, you guys imagined it. But in the case of these moronic comments, it's definitely not the time nor the place. I cannot believe the amount of stupidity that just came out of Tim's mouth. Let's take it from the top, shall we? Tesla is just a car company. How many brain-dead morons have we heard say this over the past 5-10 years? Basically everyone who was short Tesla stock. Probably because they thought Tesla was just a car company, couldn't really see what was going on. Let's ignore the AI expertise, the software expertise, the manufacturing innovation. Let's ignore everything. You guys have heard this spiel a million times. Let's ignore all of that. Tesla is just a car company. Good thinking there, Timmy. Therefore, this is Tim's reasoning, we should be valuing Ford and General Motors exactly the same way we value Tesla, because Tesla's just a car company. Ford and General Motors are just car companies as well. They're equivalent. Oh my God. I mean, he really said this. Fuck me. Next, Tim takes a brief moment there to congratulate all the people who were long Tesla stock. If anyone's wondering, he was one of those morons who was literally short Tesla stock, publicly, openly, and humiliatingly short Tesla for many years, talking about his short position on CNBS, talking about the company being worthless. You guys know the story here. Maybe there's a bit of scar tissue. Maybe this is preventing Timmy from seeing reality for what it is. Maybe he's suffering from PTSD just thinking about his Tesla short position. I don't know for sure, but it is a possibility. And possibly taking out the gold medal for the dumbest thing Tim said in those few seconds, that's really saying something, was echoing Ford's own goals of producing 600,000 electric vehicles in 2024, which is about as many electric vehicles as Tesla produced in 2020. You know, when the world was ending, that whole thing happened. They did about 500,000. So Ford aiming to be half a decade behind Tesla in 2024. At that point in time, Tesla themselves will be producing well in excess of 4 million electric vehicles per year, more profitably than anyone else. They've already got 30% gross margins, better than anyone else in the automotive industry, because Tesla's just a car company, except for Ferrari, obvious reasons. And at that point in time, in 2024, Tesla will have in excess of a decade and a half of experience manufacturing EVs at scale, and Ford will be around half a decade. Who do you think is going to be making more money, making more compelling products with greater range, features, and functionality in 2024? The company with a decade and a half of experience, the engineering talent, manufacturing chops, the technique, everything, or Ford? Just asking the question, and let's not talk about economies of scale and 600,000 versus 4 or 5 million. Let's ignore that as well. Great comparison there, Timmy. General Motors, Ford, Tesla, they're equivalent. Absolutely right. And therefore, Ford and General Motors stock, super cheap. The multiples are too low and you should definitely buy those stocks. That would be almost as smart as having been short Tesla stock in 2017, 18, and 19.
I think that's a great story, by the way. For Tesla, folks, you know, I would not be that upset about the pickup being pushed back. I mean, their production numbers are through the roof. I mean, that they're concentrating on getting cars off the assembly line.
Credit where it's due here. Tim makes a very valid point. Cybertruck potentially being delayed by about 3 milliseconds doesn't matter in the scheme of things. Tesla absolutely slaying it. The Cybertruck will be nice. It'll add some incremental volume. It's a great vehicle, great product, etc. But at this point in time, Tesla's sole focus, honestly, should be ramping the Model Y as fast as possible in Europe, in the US, and in China, period. Everything else is secondary to that goal, except, of course, commencing production of the $25,000 Tesla.
And it's working. This is a story about Ford and GM being undervalued on multiple, even if you do nothing with their legacy business.
Does anyone else experience physical pain and discomfort when you hear something that moronic? Let me try to think of an analogy here. Okay, let's imagine you're going for a swim in a pool, public pool, you know, just doing a few laps here and the water's fine, nice temperature, everything's great, it's a sunny day, wonderful. And then somebody with diarrhea empties their bowels in the water. Probably at that point in time, don't really think the water's too great after all, and you probably don't want to be swimming anymore, right? Yeah, unless you're into that, and hey, I'm not judging here. What Tim Tam here is effectively suggesting is that the fecal matter that is the internal combustion engine business can be completely ignored. Just don't worry about that. It's also not a negative. The water's still fine, okay? Everything's fine. You can still swim laps in here. Everything's totally fine. EVs of the future. Don't worry about the brown cloud you're currently swimming in. It's fine. It's not a negative. The water's great. Keep swimming. That was a really strange analogy. I should probably think of those before I say them. But anyway, I hope you guys and girls get my point. The internal combustion engine businesses within legacy automotive manufacturers currently attempting to transition to EVs isn't something that can be ignored. It's not neutral. It's a form of contamination. They'd be much better without these businesses in existence.
So here you go, Pete and Jerry, and I'm on my little handy-dandy laptop here, and I'm looking at, I'm going to show our viewers, I'm looking at prices of Ford F-150s, not electric F-150s, not Lightnings, not Raptors. They're $65,000 to $75,000. I mean, I know we love to talk about EVs. It's great. They're growing. They're sexy. They're fun. They're fast. They're cool. But people are paying $75,000 for a truck that cost $55,000 a few years ago.
Yeah. You want to talk about inflation. How about that? I mean, when you look at some of those numbers, Brian, it's absolutely incredible. Now, the Ford business is awesome. Tim's been all over this one. It's been great. He was on there long before me. I can tell you back in September, we started seeing call buying in here, and it just continued to accelerate. We hit 5 or 6 times per month all the way up until most recently, and we continue to see option activity in Ford today. So people are not done yet, Tim. They're still coming after it, and they're still looking for this stock to go even a little bit higher, maybe a couple of dollars higher. So I think that's really interesting because of that. It's all really predicated on this whole EV world, though. It really is. I mean, that's the stock move that we are seeing.
This is absolutely spot on. The insane moves in legacy automotive stocks over the last 12 months, in particular, Ford, up over 150%, are 1, demonstrative that the bell curve is absolutely real, and 2, entirely predicated on their supposed hypothetical future success and dominance in electric vehicles.
And the pricing of Ford, yes,
I know.
They're not giving the old engine enough. They're not giving it enough credit. But the dollars, like you're pointing out, That shows you the margin potential that they've got. But they are having to deal with all the labor shortage. They are having to deal with everything else that we hear about each and every day. So that is an issue, and they are actually able to make up for that with some of the prices they're getting right now.
Tesla here for a moment on two fronts. Let's start with the Cybertruck, shall we? Because the company apparently has pushed back production of the Cybertruck to the first quarter of 2023. This is according to a report by Reuters. The Cybertruck is already something of a punchline, Brian Sozzi, because when it was introduced, let's say there were some problems with even the demo version of the thing. And we're seeing a lot of other truck makers come out and actually produce electric trucks. So this is maybe another speed bump for Tesla.
No, I saw what you did there, Julie. No, I'm actually starting to think that maybe the Cybertruck just doesn't even come to market.
Oh boy. Right. So just in case you guys and girls aren't aware, I've been following the mainstream finance media's perspective on Tesla for many years now. Not because I use that to inform my opinions, that would be pretty dumb. Instead, I'm just curious about the narrative, what they're saying about Tesla versus the reality. These perceptions matter. There are actually people who watch the mainstream finance media as their sole or primary source of information when it comes to investing. And Warren, I think that's his name, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, the guy who's always salty about Elon and Tesla, just can't help himself. Even though over time he's become more accepting of the company and their success. The amount of moronic, wrong, completely ridiculous, salty things this guy has said about Tesla and Elon Musk is just astonishing. The Cybertruck's not going to come to market. I mean, this guy really deserves to be ridiculed. And now for something completely different.
Now, what is your name? Brian, sir. Brian, eh? No, Brian. Ow! The little rascal has spirit? Has what, sir? Spirit? Yes, he did, sir. No. Spirits, bravado, a touch of daring do. Oh, about 11, sir.
I'm actually starting to think that maybe the Cybertruck just doesn't even come to market, and we just saw a couple prototypes created by Tesla and Elon Musk to drive excitement around the company's car portfolio, which clearly they do a heck of a lot better getting cars out the gate than these large trucks that are really shaped like giant squares or cubes going down the road. And if it does come to market, and when it does, should it come to market, what does it even look like? I think the team is over at Tesla still trying to get the design right to the point where they can make these trucks and actually make money off it. And now as they're trying to figure this stuff out, you'll have Ford coming out here pumping out electric F-150s, all electric, at some point this year, and really starting to establish a marketplace.
Yeah, and you have Rivian making trucks. Yeah, they're making fewer than they had initially hoped to, but they're actually making and selling them. So that's 2 in the column versus Tesla with 9. Of course, something that Tesla's Elon Musk is very good at producing is tweets. And he produced another winner last night where he said that the company would be accepting Dogecoin for its merchandise, not the cars itself, I don't believe, but just like gear, swag around Tesla, right? Now, this is something the company had teased before, but I guess it's actually doing it now. And so we're seeing a bump in prices of Doge on that headline.
Well, I think you saw Elon Musk trying to flex to start off the year. We've seen a lot of weakness in cryptocurrencies the past month and a half. So it could be Elon trying to, I think, remind a lot of folks out there that he is a market mover in all things crypto, coming out here and tweeting what he did on Dogecoin reacting positively. But we were joking a little bit about this in our Slack channels, Julie, this morning. I'm over these tweets from Elon Musk. I just want him to focus on the Tesla business.
Let's completely ignore Tesla's execution over the past decade and a half, becoming one of the world's most valuable companies. Just ignore all of that. I just want to hone in on how blind Brian happens to be. Does he not recognize that Yahoo Finance are literally talking about a tweet that Elon Musk made relating to Dogecoin? Does he not understand that over 69 million people are following Elon Musk on Twitter? This is an incredible free marketing channel. Proof's in the pudding. Dogecoin up 16+% on the result of this tweet. Does he not understand the free marketing? The fact that Tesla's now accepting Dogecoin as payment for some of their merch items. And not only that, it's the only form of payment for some of their merch items. Does he not understand the millions of dollars of free publicity this generates for the company? Does he not understand that many people in the crypto space will now look into Tesla for the first time or take a deeper look just because they're accepting Dogecoin? Does he not understand that Elon Musk's Twitter profile is an integral part of Tesla's business and a brilliant free marketing channel? Does anyone sense A little bit of butthurt and salt here from Wyan. Maybe he's just a little bit salty about the fact that he's still living in his mum's basement and Elon Musk's out there changing the world and has about 70 million followers on Twitter to boot.
Trying to top, really, what was a strong 2021 for him? You have to give a tip of the hat to Elon Musk and what they achieved last year.
Yes, for sure. So we'll see if he gets the head down and gets that Cybertruck rolling.
Well, happy to end on a positive note here. Brian at least acknowledging Tesla and Elon Musk's incredible execution last year. So to recap, the dinosaurs in the mainstream finance media, who themselves will soon be extinct, shout out to people watching YouTube instead, have absolutely no idea what's about to happen to legacy automotive. Many of them believing the likes of Ford and GM are actually undervalued. You just cannot believe how blind these people are. Tim Seymour, forget his surname, I always make a mistake, sorry guys, I'm bad with the pronunciation today, has now gone from Tesla's a zero, they're going bankrupt, Elon's a fraud, to every automotive company should be valued exactly the same as Tesla because they're completely equivalent, they're just a car company and nothing more, therefore legacy automotive stocks are massively undervalued, and one of the Yahoos on Yahoo Finance still cannot let go of his dislike of Tesla and Elon Musk. I do wonder when these folks are eventually going to wake up and realize legacy automotive manufacturers are universally fucked. Tesla has an unassailable lead, and that Tesla truly is a once-in-a-generation company and an incredible story. Just finally, if you guys and girls would like access to my exclusive content over on Patreon, over 100 videos, my Tesla price targets, and loads of other perks, check out the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment and sign up, and I'll see you guys over there. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can get 2 free stocks with WeBull, a free stock with Stake, free Bitcoin with Coinbase, and free Bitcoin with BlockFi, and the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.